Hello everyone, this is Miss Soma. So today I'm going to be talking about multi-step equations. Okay. But before we do multi-step equations, I want to do a quick review on two-step equations. So I want to start with a daily life scenario. So say for example, you have some money in your wallet or in your pocket, and then your parents were so happy of your test score in math because you got perfect, and then they said, well, I know you got some money in your pocket, we're gonna double that because of your score. So now they're gonna double your money, and then you feel like celebrating, so you spent $3 off of that money, and now you have $7 in your pocket. So, in order for you to find out how much was your original amount of money that you have in your pocket, you are going to trace back or put back what was being done to your money. So, in the last step that you did here was to spend $3 for Jolly Rancher, so you would want to put that money back. So, you want to put that money back. So, now you have $10. And then since your parents doubled this amount here, you want to split it in half. So now you divide it by 2, and then you have 5. So meaning the original money that you have in your pocket is actually $5. So now let's verify if that is true. 2 times 5 is 10, minus 3 is 7. So now our solution is correct. So let's try another two-step equations. X plus 3 divided by 5 equals 6. All right, so now let's take a look at the story of your variable or your money or your X. So what was being done to it? So we added $3. All right, so we add $3. After adding $3, what did we do? We divide it by 5. Okay, and remember, we are just reversing what was being done to your X. So now we are gonna, instead of the last step here is divide by 5, so the inverse operation of divide by 5 is times 5. So this is times 5, 30. And then the inverse of adding 3 is to remove the 3. So you originally has $27. So let's verify. 27 plus 3 is 30. Divided by 5, you get 6. All right, so now let's bring it back to multi-step equations. So let's see, for example, but in multi-step equations, you would have to do your distributive property first. Okay, then followed by getting rid of your fractions. Then you combine like terms. And then you are going to get rid of all x's except for 1. And then story of x. All right, so however, when I have you solve for equations, whatever you do on one side, I would like you to do it on the other side as well. And I'll show that as we do more examples. I'm just doing it this way so that you will understand that solving equations is really just like undoing what was being done to x. All right, so let's leave this guide over here. Just folding my paper. All right, so let's see, for example, I have this equation. 2x minus 5 plus 8 is equal to 12. Okay, so the very first thing I want you to look at is look for distributive property in your equation. So I have it here. So I'm going to perform my distributive first. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Copy the rest. There you go. Now the next step is look for fractions. There's none. Then we're gonna combine like terms on the same side of the equation. Only on the same side of the equation. You can never cross this equal sign right here. So you only combine what's on the left side of the equation and what's on the right side of the equation. In this case, I can combine my negative 15 and my positive 8. And that gives me negative 7. So now I have 6x minus 7 is equal to 12. Then I can do my story of x. So my story of x here is x is being multiplied by 6. And then we subtracted 7 to it. And now I end up with 12. So I'm going to put back my 7. So now plus 7. Then instead of times 6, I'm going to divide it by 6. Then I will get my value of x. So I'm going to start with plus 7. And this is what I'm talking about. You have to do it on both sides of the equation in order for it to stay equal. So 12 plus 7, it's 19. And now I have 6x. The next step is divided by 6. Divided by 6. So x equals 19 over 6. Or x is equal to 3 and 1/6. Or x is equal to 3.16 repeating. Okay, so now let's do more examples. Let's put some fractions in there. Let's do 2/3 x minus 5 is equal to 10x minus 2. All right, so now let's do the checklist. Is there any distributive property? There's no distributive, so we're gonna go straight to fractions. So what I would like you to do is never convert fractions into decimals. I'm having you avoid that because there are some fractions that I call unfriendly fractions, and then you will have a different answer at the end if you are going to convert them into decimals. So what I would like you to do is turn fractions into whole number. So how do we do that is we are just going to multiply everything by the denominator. So this is the denominator here is 3. So multiply everything by 3. And this works because if it is an equation, whatever you do to one side, if you multiply this by 3 and you multiply this by 3, so everything would still be equal. All right, so now this is 6 over 3x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. 3 times 10 is 30x. Now 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Now simplify your fractions. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now x minus 15 equals 30x minus 6. Now the next thing we have in our checklist is combine like terms from the same side of your equation. In this case, there's nothing to combine here. There are no like terms here to be combined. So now the next checklist here is get rid of all the x's except for just one. So which one do you want to get rid of? You want this one or the 3x? What I like doing is to always get rid of what's on the right side of my equation. Or sometimes I feel like it's easier. Okay, in this case, let's just get rid of the less value. So I'm gonna get rid of the 2x. So in order for this to become 0, so I just subtract 2x from there. So whatever I do on one side, I do it on the other side as well. So now I have, this is now 0. So negative 15 is equal to 30x minus 2x is 28x minus 6. Then here comes our story of x. The story of x is times 28 minus 6. So now to reverse that, I would have to do plus 6 first. Now 28x is equal to negative 15 plus 6. So that gives you negative 9. Yes. Then divided by, so this is times 28. So now you divide by 28. So the answer is -9 over 28 is equal to x. And you can also have this expressed in decimal form. I just don't have a calculator with me. Okay, let's do a few more. Okay, so let's try two fractions. 1/2 x. Oh, let's put a distributive too. 3. 2x minus 5 is equal to 20x. Okay, so the first thing we do is do the distributive. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times -5 is -15. Then copy the rest of the terms. All right. Now, oh, I do want to do several fractions. So that would be later. Let's finish this first. Okay, now I have, then after distributive is we're going to do fractions. So in order to make this whole, this is 1/2. So now we're going to multiply it by 2. So now that's 2 over 2x plus 12x minus 30. And make sure you do it also on the other side of the equation, 40x. Okay? Now, this is just 1x. Simplify your equations. So plus 12x minus 30 equals 40x. Now, next step is combine like terms on the same side of the equation. So now I can combine 1x and 12x. So that would be 13x minus 30 is equal to 40x. Okay? Now, I have to, next step is leave only one variable in the equations. Oh, well, we have x here, but leave only one x. So I'm gonna get rid of the 13x here. So minus 13x minus 13x. Okay, and then that gives me, this is now 0, -30 is equal to, what is 40 minus 13? That's 27. All right, and then that's times 27. So again, only focus on your x. So that's times 27. So the inverse of that is divided by 27. Divided by 27. So now x is equal to -30 over 27, or -1 and 3 over 27, or x is equal to -1 and 1/9, or x is equal to -1.1 repeating. I can only convert fractions into decimals on selected ones, because some of them requires long division or the use of calculator. All right, so let's try another one. This time I'm gonna try to do two fractions. So let's do 3/5 x minus 1/2 plus, okay, I'm just going to do equals 6 2x minus 4. All right, so again, what's the first thing we do? Distributive property. So now that's 12x. 6 times -4, -24. And then copy the rest. So after you do distributive property, you're going to do fractions. And then we want to turn fractions into whole. So in this case, since we have two fractions here, you can multiply everything by 5, then multiply everything by 2, or just do their least common multiple. So you're going to make a list of 5s, 5, 10, and then I just stop at 10 because I already know that it's going to be 10. And then I'll make a list of multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And then the least common one is 10. So that's good enough to make the two fractions whole. So I'm going to multiply everything by 10. 10 times 3 is 30 over 5x. 10 times 1 is 10 over 2. 12 times 10 is 120x minus 240. Okay, look at it first. Then what's the next step? We simplify the terms. So 30 divided by 5 is 6x minus 5 equals 120x minus 240. All right. Now, is there any terms that we can combine on each side of the equation? There's nothing. So I'm going to get rid of one of the x's. I want to get rid of the 6x here. So minus 6x here. I have negative 5 is equal to 114x minus 240. All right, now we focus on our story of x times 114 minus 240. Then reverse the process. So plus 240 plus 240. Then you will have, this is now 0. We have 114x, and this is positive 235. Then you divide it by 114. Then x is equal to 235 over 114, or whatever that is in decimal. Okay, and I also want to show you one more thing. What if you will see an equation looking like this? Let's see. 2x minus 5 all over 3 is equal to 6x, for example. Okay? So remember when you were in 6th grade, when you were doing fractions such as 2/3 plus 1/3. So 2/3 plus 1/3. That will just give you 3/3. So because when you have the same denominator, you could just add the numerator. So that becomes 2 plus 1, and then it's just 3 over 3. You see? That's the same concept we have here. I could just split this into 2x over 3 minus 5 over 3 is equal to 6x. All right, so now there's no distributive property. I'm just going to go straight into making my fractions whole. So now I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So now it's 6x over 3 minus 15 over 3 is equal to 18x. Okay, so now let's simplify our terms. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so 2x minus 5 is equal to 18x. And look at here, your 2x minus 5 is what you have here. So in other words, you simply could just go multiply that as your shortcut. But anyway, I want you to understand why it was okay to just multiply this by 3. Okay, so now we have to get rid of one of the x's. So minus 2x minus 2x. So negative 5 is equal to 16x. Then divided by 16. So x is equal to negative 5 over 16, and whatever that is in decimal form. All right? Till next time. Bye-bye.